Did you know that your heart is most vulnerable? Not during intense stress, not even during a workout, but right after you wake up? That might sound surprising. After all, morning should be a fresh start, a new day, a time when your body feels rested. But it's also when your risk of having a heart attack skyrockets. Studies have shown that the hours between 6 a.m. and noon carry the highest risk for heart attacks, up to 40% higher than any other time of day. Not because you're moving too fast or because something stressful just happened. No, it's because of what's happening inside your body, quietly, automatically, without your permission. The moment you open your eyes, your body releases a surge of cortisol, the get up and go hormone. Your blood vessels tighten, your blood pressure climbs, your heart starts beating harder, and for most people that's no problem. But for someone with even a little plaque in their arteries, or underlying heart issues they may not know about yet, this ordinary morning process becomes a dangerous spark. Think about that. You're not running, you're not panicking, you're just waking up. And that's when your heart might betray you. Instead of easing into the day, your cardiovascular system is thrown into high gear at the exact moment when it's most fragile. So today, I want to walk you through what this means for you or someone you love. We'll look at why mornings are risky, how to spot the warning signs early, and most importantly, what to do before it's too late. Because the truth is, what you do in those first waking hours can save your life. Are you listening to your body, or are you brushing off the signals just to get through the day? Let's talk about it. Every morning, your body performs a ritual. Whether you notice it or not, it's a carefully coordinated series of internal adjustments designed to move you from rest to wakefulness. And while that sounds harmless, even natural, it can actually trigger one of the deadliest events in medicine, a heart attack. Let's break it down. The moment your eyes open, your brain signals the adrenal glands to release cortisol, the stress hormone. Now, cortisol isn't always bad. In fact, it's essential. It helps you feel alert. It gets you out of bed. It prepares your body to start the engine. But here's where it turns risky. Alongside cortisol, your blood pressure starts to rise. Your heart rate increases. Your blood vessels constrict slightly. Your platelets, those tiny fragments that help with clotting, become stickier, and your body becomes a little more insulin resistant, which can momentarily spike blood sugar. Why does all this matter? Because in someone with narrowed arteries or vulnerable plaque that hasn't caused symptoms yet, this surge of activity can rupture that plaque, forming a clot that suddenly blocks blood flow to the heart. That's when a heart attack begins. Instead of slowly progressing, it happens in an instant. One moment, you're reaching for the coffee pot. The next, you're struggling to breathe, clutching your chest. Or worse, feeling nothing at all until it's too late. This early morning perfect storm is backed by real science. A 2001 analysis in the American Journal of Hypertension found that heart attacks, strokes, and sudden cardiac death are significantly more likely between 6 a.m. and noon. Other studies from Imperial College London and UT Health Houston explain why. The body's circadian rhythm, a natural 24-hour clock, makes the heart most vulnerable at that time. It's not just about cortisol, it's about the way your heart's internal repair systems take a back seat during the early morning. While the body's demand for oxygen rises, the mismatch puts pressure on the heart muscle, and if your arteries are already struggling, that's when disaster strikes. So no, it's not a coincidence that many people have heart attacks first thing in the morning. It's biology, it's timing. It's a reminder that the heart doesn't just care what you're doing, it also cares when you're doing it. And if you're someone over 60, if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol or diabetes, if you smoke, or if heart disease runs in your family, then these early hours are not just routine. They are a window of vulnerability. Instead of leaping out of bed and rushing into the day, you may want to start more slowly. Sit up, breathe deeply, let your system catch up, because the body may be waking up, but the heart needs a moment. The good news? When you understand the timing, you can take precautions. You can listen, you can prepare, you can survive, but only if you recognize that not all hours of the day are created equal. And the ones just after sunrise may matter more than you think. Let's start with the classic, chest pain. It's the hallmark sign of a heart attack, and the one most people expect. But here's the problem. Not everyone experiences it the same way. When we hear chest pain, we picture something dramatic, a sharp stab, a crushing weight, a person falling to the ground, gasping for air. But for many, especially older adults, it doesn't look like that at all. Instead, it might feel like pressure or tightness or an uncomfortable fullness, like something heavy is sitting right on your chest. Some people say it feels like indigestion that won't go away, or a burning sensation that keeps spreading. Others describe it as an ache, not sharp, but deep and persistent. And it's not always just in the chest. It can radiate to the shoulders, the arms, especially the left arm, the neck, the jaw, even the upper back. One woman in the comments of a video said her boyfriend's mother felt chest tightness on a hike during their honeymoon. She didn't want to ruin the moment, so she tried to sleep it off. By morning, she was gone. That's why this symptom should never be ignored. If you feel any discomfort in your chest that lasts more than a few minutes, or that comes and goes and just doesn't feel right, especially if it spreads or makes you break out in a sweat, get to the emergency room immediately. It might not be a heart attack, but if it is, every minute counts. Don't wait for it to feel worse. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what to do. Instead of brushing it off, treat it like a fire alarm. Have you ever been sitting still, watching TV, reading, folding laundry, and suddenly felt like you just sprinted across the room? Your heart's pounding, your chest feels tight, you're gasping for air, and yet you haven't done anything to explain it. This is shortness of breath, and it can be an early and very serious sign of a heart attack. We often associate being out of breath with physical exertion, but when it happens at rest, especially if it comes on suddenly or is accompanied by lightheadedness, it may mean your heart is struggling to pump blood effectively. Instead of moving oxygen-rich blood out to the body, the blood backs up into the lungs, creating that breathless sensation. One viewer shared how her husband described it as, "My lungs feel cold, not painful, not pressured, just cold, like standing outside on a freezing day without a coat." That eerie, unfamiliar feeling turned out to be a heart attack. He barely made it to the hospital in time. The risk here is that shortness of breath can be subtle. You might write it off as aging or allergies or anxiety. But here's the truth. If your breathing changes without a clear reason, especially alongside other symptoms like fatigue, nausea, or chest pressure, you must act quickly. It doesn't mean you're out of shape. It doesn't mean you're just tired. It could mean your heart is sending an urgent message. Not all heart attacks announce themselves with a bang. Sometimes they whisper. One of the most dangerous forms of heart attack is the one you don't recognize, because it looks like something else entirely. Nausea, vomiting, indigestion, back pain, feeling incredibly tired. These are symptoms people often ignore or misattribute, and that's especially true for women. In fact, heart attacks in women often present without chest pain. Instead, it may feel like severe indigestion or a flu that won't go away. Some women report jaw pain, shoulder tension, or an overwhelming sense of doom. Others just feel off, weak, foggy. One woman said she vomited for 4 hours, thinking it was food poisoning. When she finally went to the hospital, they found 2 blocked arteries. Another shared that her mother kept complaining about indigestion. She passed away from a massive heart attack just weeks later. It's tragic, and it's avoidable. If you're over 50, have risk factors like diabetes or high blood pressure, and you suddenly feel sick in your gut, drained or nauseous without explanation, do not delay. Get checked. Instead of hoping it's nothing, treat it like it might be something. The worst case scenario is being told you're fine, but the best case, catching a heart attack before it kills you. Here's a hard truth. Many people never see their heart attack coming, not because the signs weren't there, but because they didn't recognize them. You see, the body doesn't always follow the textbook. While chest pain, shortness of breath, and nausea are well-known warning signs, there are others, quieter, stranger, often dismissed, that show up hours or even days before a major event. Let's talk about them. One retired nurse shared a story that still gives chills. Her patient came in with a persistent toothache, not a cavity, not an infection, just pain that wouldn't go away. Multiple dentists couldn't explain it. One finally said, "Just in case, go see a cardiologist." That decision saved his life. He ended up on the operating table with a quintuple bypass less than 12 hours later. A toothache. Then there's the man who had a headache in the back of his skull, which got worse over 3 days. He finally couldn't stand it and went to the ER. It was a heart attack, confirmed by EKG and stress test. No chest pain, just pressure in his head. Others feel pain between the shoulder blades, a sense of burning in the throat, or even chills, like their body is going cold from the inside out. And perhaps most dangerously, extreme fatigue, not regular tiredness, not "I stayed up too late, tired," but a deep bone-level exhaustion that makes it hard to move, think, or even stay awake. Women in particular report the symptom in the days leading up to a heart attack, but they brush it off. Life is busy. Aging is tiring. Right? Wrong. If you suddenly feel like you're moving through molasses, like your energy has been stolen overnight, take notice, because your heart might be losing its battle quietly before it shuts down completely. And here's the scariest part. Many of these people never make it to the hospital. They wait, they hope, they assume. Instead of doing that, trust the outliers, the weird symptoms, the ones that don't make sense. If it feels wrong, it probably is. And if it turns out to be nothing, you still win. Because the only thing worse than going to the hospital and being told you're okay is not going and never getting the chance to hear those words at all. Your body is always speaking to you, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in shouts. The question is, are you listening? Too often we ignore that quiet voice. We dismiss the strange pressure, the unexpected fatigue, the breath that doesn't come as easily. We tell ourselves it's just gas, just stress, just age. We don't want to be dramatic. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to bother anyone. But heart attacks don't care about your schedule. They don't wait for a convenient moment, and they certainly don't give second chances. One woman shared how her brother died. Less than 24 hours after being told by a clinic he was probably fine. He had trouble breathing, but the tests were normal. He went home. He didn't wake up. Another viewer said a physician's assistant blamed her chest pain and left arm numbness on a panic attack. She nearly died. So let me say this clearly. You have the right to ask for more, to demand a second opinion, to request an EKG, to go to a real emergency room instead of an urgent care clinic, to insist that your symptoms be taken seriously, because nobody knows your body better than you do. If it feels off, it probably is. If you feel dismissed, push harder. Be the squeaky wheel. Be the advocate. Be the reason you're still here tomorrow. Self-doubt is dangerous. politeness can be fatal, and silence. Silence is what the heart counts on when it's failing. So the next time your body whispers that something isn't right, answer, not with fear, not with delay, but with action, because that small, uneasy feeling may be the only warning you get. Let's pause for a moment. You've just heard how your heart becomes more vulnerable in the morning. You've learned the signs, both the obvious and the quiet. You've heard real stories. You've felt how fragile life can be. Now what? What you do next could mean everything. If you or someone you love experiences chest discomfort, shortness of breath, nausea, extreme fatigue, or just that uneasy sense that something is not right, do not wait. Don't go take a nap. Don't wait for it to pass. Don't assume you're being overly cautious. Call 911. Get to the ER. Ask for tests. Ask again. It's better to be told you're fine than to be told nothing, because you're no longer here to be told anything at all. Heart disease remains the #1 killer in the U.S., especially for people over 60. And yet, so many deaths are preventable. So many could have been avoided with just one more question, one more check, one more voice saying, "This doesn't feel right." And maybe that voice is yours. Maybe you're the one who saves yourself. Or maybe you're the one who recognizes these signs in your spouse, your parent, your neighbor. That moment of awareness, that moment of action, might be the reason they get a second chance. So here's what I ask of you. Know the signs, take them seriously, and share this video with someone you love, because you never know who's ignoring their symptoms, who's pushing through the pain, who's telling themselves, "I'll be fine," and they won't be unless they act. Let's make sure they do before it's too late.